All right, everybody. Well, welcome back. As always, this is the Mission Roll Call Town Hall. We're here to obviously welcome you guys into another one of our wonderful little episodes that we have here. And this time, Jim, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to pronounce your name appropriately, right? Went to the DMV, tried to get your name changed, bro. And that line was long, super long. So I decided that we're going to keep it. So everybody, Jim Whaley, the CEO of the organization, is going to be joining me today as we discuss a couple administrative things for everybody. Next one of these will happen on July 23rd. Same bat time, same bat channel. So it'll be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those that are here. If you have questions, whatever platform you may be watching this on, ask the question. Okay. As you're going to continue to hear as we talk through this thing, you know, you're the important part of the entire pie, right? If we're not getting your questions, not getting your feedback, we really can't do. We're trying to be your voice to make sure that we get the things that you need reviewed and, of course, looked at. Help us to ensure that we continue to get your voice by visiting the website, missionrollcall.org. This will be the selfless plug that you get. This is important, right? You can't complain about not getting what you need if you're not giving your voice. We're giving you an avenue to do that, and it's unbiased. It's apolitical. We're taking it. We're basically delivering it. It's that clear. Okay, so it can't be any better for you. And then the final part of today, we got the suicide prevention survey that's currently live. So if you have not taken that, right, if you're listening to this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll have the team post up some links to everybody so you can go and take it. We need you to take it. Okay, whether you know somebody that has attempted to take their life or not, or even if it's you, we need the feedback. Okay, we need real feedback that we then can provide to the VA and, of course, others. Jim, it looks like you're in an undisclosed location, man. This is not what I normally see. So where are you?
I'm in trouble a lot, so I got to move around, and keep the enemy on its toes. I'm actually in balmy Tampa, Florida, and we're here for the Hockey Heals 22 event, which is a wonderful event that's bringing awareness in the Tampa community, but has the potential to bring awareness across the country on veteran suicide, and it does it via a hockey game. With the veterans that are playing hockey, and we have a professional team here as well that's involved with us here in Tampa. So we're excited about that, and we have the Malone Family Foundation involved, and just the Tampa community has been wonderful in supporting this, and we would just want to bring awareness and get families out there and talk about it. It's a wonderful event. It goes on for 22 hours, each hour representing a veteran that we pass due to suicide, 22 a day. But in this particular case, we're going to have the picture and the family members of that veteran who has taken their life there at the event. So it's I think a great way to do it, and a lot of support here in the Tampa community. So yeah, that's why I'm down here in Tampa and meeting some great folks, great people, and looking forward to the event. Yeah, I'm looking forward actually to get into a cold ice hockey rink because it is very warm here in Tampa.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying the thought of somebody from Tampa watching me right now with a Dolphins hat on, just ready to be like, right. We can all be friends. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Just get over that. Yeah.
Be friends. Exactly. So it's gonna be a great event. Suicide, mental health awareness. I mean, like anything, the more we talk about these things, the better chance we have at saving somebody's life or taking them down a direction that will be better for everybody. So one thing I'm going to bring up, we do have a veteran social event, basically appreciation event that's going to be happening on June 19th. I would ask the team if we can get that invite in. That way, those that are listening, if you're in the Tampa area, come on out, come join us. You get an opportunity to kind of talk to us, give us your feedback, because we're always looking for that. Well, Jim, we started a month knowing that was 250 years of military service this month. So 250 years in the military. I mean, who can fathom that? As an organization, we definitely understand the importance of not only the military, but of course the veterans that serve and then their families after that and the things they do. I wanted to ask you a question on kind of any thoughts you have on what type of support do you think we're going to be providing to veterans, from now until 300 years or 350 years, and what things we're focused on.
Yeah, well, certainly technology will change. The ability to use AI, the advances we have in the pharmaceutical industry will hopefully make life better for all of us from a health perspective. But I think the commitment that the country has, that we as citizens in our great republic has to veterans will never go away. I mean, we had an army before we had a nation. So I think it's important for us to always realize that all the freedoms that we love and cherish are afforded to us by those that have gone before us, and it's going to be there for our children and grandchildren because of those that are in school right now or not even born yet that are going to continue to carry that baton to make sure that we have freedom, and we have to make sure that that covenant, that agreement, that when you join the service and you sign a blank check that says you're willing to give your life to your country to defend it, that VA or whatever entity it is then will be there to make sure that you're taken care of and that you thrive. It's just not being taken care of. It's making sure you're thriving, going back into the community, starting businesses, running for elected office, doing all those things that plug you back into the community. We're the fabric of our nation. And so we have to make sure that veterans continue to have meaningful lives and meaningful missions. And that's important because all veterans have to have a follow-on mission. Makes them part of the community, makes them feel good about themselves, and it gives them a course. Like I've always said, veterans are wonderful about taking care of other veterans. They're not too good about taking care of themselves. And if they have a mission, though, they will take care of themselves. So we have to make sure that happens. But, I think this agreement, this handshake, this covenant, whatever you want to call it, will continue.
Great, Jim. Yeah, and the thing that you hit on there, I think is really important, and it's the one thing I ask of just folks in general is remember that veterans that came before us afforded us the ability to do the things and the healthcare and the benefits and all the stuff that we have now. So it is about this 250 years is about celebrating the fact of those that came way before us, and anybody that's had an opportunity to go hang at a VFW, American Legion, some of these other great organizations, you've had an opportunity to speak to a veteran that has lived through those time periods. Remember that much of the voice that we're asking for MRC is to impact the next version of the organization. So that's a great point that you brought up, Jim. So thank you for that. The other thing that we did this last month, man, it's been I think crazy. This has been one of the craziest months that we've had for an organization because the amount of feedback we've been getting on the surveys and just generalized data is overwhelming, but it's good. I mean, it's the type of data that we need to be able to present. So last month, we focused in on amplifying voices for veterans at the VA and through the congressional leadership. And that's obviously Mike Desmond, who does a fabulous job inside the organization, helping get your voice to the right folks. And then, of course, you, Jim, going up and doing some stuff. So can you give a snapshot for those that maybe weren't there of kind of how were the surveys used? What have you guys been speaking to folks about? And then kind of what's that impact looking like thus far?
Yeah, I'll give you two specific examples that I think kind of illustrate the importance of these surveys and how we take those surveys and use them to make meaningful dialogue and discussions and change in DC. First is around the Veterans Second Amendment Act. We surveyed veterans and their families and found out a vast majority of veterans strongly believe that veterans should be held to the same laws that every American is about having a weapon and be able to enjoy their Second Amendment rights. And right now, what happens if a veteran, somebody that's using the VA facilities, has a fiduciary taking care of their finances, or maybe they are undergoing some counseling because of post-traumatic stress, or maybe they just had an issue that they wanted to talk to somebody about for mental health purposes. Their name has been put forward and then put on a list that doesn't allow them to maintain a weapon. Well, no one else in America has to go through that. And so we've made the case, and with the help of some key congressmen and senators, that needs to go away. And the VA agrees with that as well, so that a judge would have to be involved to make that decision. That's one. And we've gained ground. We've gained a lot of support. And because those that were on the fence, maybe in the Congress, see the polling and see that 70% plus of veterans, I think 80% plus veterans feel that this is not fair, that sways their decision. Because when you think about it, we have 18 million veterans. You add in their family members, you add in everybody else, that's about 30 million That's a sizable voting block, so that gets their attention. I think the other one that is, I think folks probably listening to this are more aware of, is around the Access Act. Access Act is basically giving the ability for veterans to get health care when and where and how they need it. Simple as that. So right now, as you know, veterans will have to go to a VA hospital, but if the care is not there, then they have to drive there, or it takes months for them to get the appointment. Access Act puts parameters both in time and in distance so that veterans can get the health care where they need it, when they need it, how they need it. And that's very important, because if you think about it, if you're getting out of the service, or if you've been out for a little while, and now you're trying to get an appointment with the VA and you're struggling to find a job, and now you're struggling with health care, and now you can't get the health care that you need, you could see that's going to be a slippery slope. And we want to make sure veterans get the health care their needs, especially around mental health, because we know the challenges we still have with suicide and homelessness, and pushing an appointment 6 months out is not the answer to that. And, you know, a large percentage or a significant percentage, and you can correct me, Ray, I think it's around 20% of veterans are in rural environments. They may not have a VA right down the road, and they may not have the ability to get to that VA. So it's crucial that we get health care where and when they need it. And so by having those polls that veterans are by far saying, we need this, it's important, it's life-saving, handing that to a congressman or their staff or senator and their staff, that helps them make decisions and ask the right questions in these hearings when the bill is getting discussed and debated, and it helps get the health care that we really need. So that's, and I can't tell you how important it is when you walk into a room and say, listen, we've just surveyed a whole bunch of veterans, thousands across the nation. They're saying this. That's what they want. That's what they need. That helps make the decision, because they don't have the ability in the Congress or the Senate and those staffs to get that information, and we can get it to them real time. And that makes a big difference. And that's why we're playing such a significant role, and that we just got talented, passionate people in this organization that are driving it. And Michael Desmond is just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, he's doing a fabulous job. And we've seen just, you know, and even before him, Cole, right? Like it's such a, for those that have not been inside of the advocacy world, not understanding, you know, because even like me for sure, you know, Jim, I'm not sure how much time you've actually spent inside this world, but there's definitely a lot of learning that's happening here. So that, you know, hats off to both of those guys for the work that they put in, and kind of where we're at today. And this idea that we have now, where it's not our voice, not Mission Roll Call, right? It's veteran voices, it's their families, so forth and so on. So appreciate that. One thing I wanted to share, one of the things we got back from, and I believe this is a part of the congressional team, right? Somebody from whether it's a congressional leader or a congressional staff member, which is all part of it. I want to just read this testimony because I thought it hit really importantly. And for those that are listening, this is you, right? So replace Mission Roll Call with you to understand what this is. Mission Roll has become a trusted partner in the veterans policy space. They bring data, perspective, and clear understanding of what veterans are experiencing. In a crowded field, their voice consistently rises above the noise, measured, mission-focused, and grounded in the reality of the veteran community. The important parts out of all of that is that it's not our voice, right? I know Mission Roll Call is on there, and I've heard a couple times where folks have come to us and said, instead of saying, hey, what does Mission Roll Call think? They go, what do veterans think? That's a powerful tool, because again, you know, each of us on the team, our entire team, everybody that's here, are either our veterans or related to and have veterans in their families or close to them, and understand the importance of this. Yeah. So it's important to understand that we are speaking on your behalf, but we're not, you know, changing your words or what your words are saying. We're just delivering it the straight way that it is. So
yeah, and that's what makes us so powerful, is the fact that we go in there apolitical. It's not my opinion. It's not the group peers' opinion, as you said, Ray. It's really the voices of our veterans. But it's also providing to them the details. And to them, I mean Congress and Senate. Here is the key points you need to know. Here's a white paper that explains the situation and the impacts based on surveys, based on what we're hearing. And it's not just online surveys, it's talking to veterans, it's reaching out to them and in meetings. And this week, I've had the chance to talk to a lot of veterans, getting their perspective. And it's wonderful to do that because you can meet a lot of great people, but you also get the challenges that each organization has or each individual has. And it's different geographically. I mean, here in Tampa, they have a wonderful VA facility. You go to another part of the country, not so much. So it's good to get all those perspectives, and to be a trusted agent makes a big difference. And in today's world, if you can be trusted on both sides of the aisle, you're doing something right.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Mario, I see your question. I'm just going to answer it real quick. Hopefully you're getting this from our conversation that we're having here, but we absolutely talk to families, caregivers, anybody that's related to veterans, because the importance of those folks, it's like my spouse, I saw one side of the military because I did my 20 plus years. Right. So like, I understand what I did, but what I don't understand well is what my wife lived through, or my kids. So it's, I think there's a part of that we understand, and that's important. And a lot of the decisions that are made and legislation and advocacy and other stuff like that, we take that into account. So we absolutely want you to go there and to take it. And we also want folks that may just have somebody that's a third cousin or somebody that's related. Supporters are just as important. Perceptions are important also, right? Because that's part of what we do, is I kind of call it myth busting sometimes when Jim and I talk about it, right? And it's okay. It's what we read something, we see something, but that's not 100% factual, right? That's not really, you think that's the right thing, but that's not really the right answer. And you can get that from the folks that we have. So we absolutely want you to do that.
Yeah. And it was Mario, right, that asked that question?
Yeah, Mario. Yep.
So Mario, the other thing I would say is go to some of our podcasts and listen. Some of those podcasts, they're specifically focused on family members, caregivers, others that are involved with this. I mean, the fact is, the veteran community is just not the veteran. It's the family member. It's the mom and dad. It's those children that are providing healthcare support to their mom and dad. It's brothers and sisters. So we're very inclusive with that. We want to hear from everybody that's involved with the veteran issues, veteran community. So yeah, we agree with you 100%. It's a holistic approach.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we always talk about, man, if I could think back of the whiteboard session that you and I had when we had the opportunity to come into Mission Roll Call, one of the things you and I talked a lot about was this idea that we got to connect ourselves with other nonprofits, right? And veteran service organizations, and understand that like we understand there's going to be weirdness. There always is, right? Like we all need money. This is a business, all of that. But the reality, we're never going to get through and help with these issues if we're not bringing on a coalition and folks that want to support veterans, whether we're at the local community and there's a wonderful man or lady that's down there doing it, all the way up to national organizations. And I bring that up because you had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with Walt Pyatt, who's the CEO of Wounded Warrior Project. But what's more important to me, and you did that on the podcast, is that you guys actually knew each other. So like that was interesting to me to watch the podcast. And I know we could wait till the podcast, but I'm interested to know, how do you know Walt? Like, what's the background on that?
Yeah, so Walt and I went to a college called Lock Haven University, which is in central Pennsylvania. Small school. I think there was about 2,000 in my graduating class, maybe a little less. Walt was a couple years behind me in ROTC, so I remember Walt. And we knew each other in college. And then fast forward about 10 years or so, I was stationed in Panama, and I was walking our first child around our little cul-de-sac, and a woman was walking her baby, and we kind of crossed paths, and we looked at each other, and it was Cynthia Pyatt, who went to Lock Haven as well. And here we are, hadn't seen each other or talked in a number of years, and now we're parents. And then I got connected with Walt again, and we've stayed in touch. And of course, Walt had a wonderful, distinguished career, and retired as a 3-star, and now is leading, a major veteran support organization, Wounded Warrior. And it was great to connect with him, talk about challenges we both face, share thoughts and ideas about how we want to move forward and how we want to work together. Great thing about Walt is he wants to work together. I'm sorry if it's a little loud. I'm in a hotel lobby, but hopefully you can hear me okay. Walt's a wonderful guy, He's got great people working for him, and he understands working together. And I think that's important for veteran support organizations across the spectrum to understand we're all horses pulling the same wagon. And we may have to go after funding and things like that, but it's all going to work out. The important thing is we look at ways to collaborate and really solve the problems. In some cases, it's about joining forces and maybe merging together. Those type of thought processes I think we need to think about. The end of the day, it's not about a logo or an ego. It's about what can you do to help veterans. And I know Walt believes that, as I do. And so it's great to connect to him again. And I'm looking forward to working with him and his group and exploring the opportunities together.
Yeah, I think it was fascinating. I always get the front end. Like maybe that's a thing. We got to figure out a way that we can, for those that are interested, pre-releasing it where folks can come in and watch it.
Yeah, because we had a lot of good laughs before the.
Yeah. I've always said that, you've got the good ones that, the good things that kind of happen there.
Although he had some fraternity stories on me, so I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. You probably don't want those out, but don't worry. I just sent him $1,000 to see if I can
get some, get some. So if he doesn't have photos, we're all good.
Yeah. No poly, no waiver, no statement, no photos, right? Yeah,
that's right.
But perfect. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for that, Jim. I think the main thing that I got from you guys talking was the idea of like the importance of VSOs partnering and a lot of stuff. And even probably bigger than that was the idea of what this month is for us. So inside of Mission Roll Call, we are focused on underserved, minority, and rural veterans this month. So like June is like that time period where we focus most of our effort. And for those that don't know, we have thematics that we look at each month because we want to make sure that we're bringing awareness to as many things as possible. So what I did, Jim, is I looked at a couple things, and you brought this number up earlier, but a recent study learned, basically what I learned was that nearly 25% of veterans live in rural America. That was interesting to read that. To give that more context, that's around 2.7 million veterans that live in rural environment. Now, that's those that are enrolled in the Veterans Health Administration. What you and I know, though, is like, we say there's 18 million veterans, but only 9 million of them are in the VA. That means that number could be different, which I'll ask a couple questions. What's even more interesting is that the majority of those are 56 or older, right? So like when you start to like click it, you start to learn like, kind of how that lays out. Yeah. For me, I think the question I have for you is like, how important, I love them. They're back there playing volleyball or something.
Yeah. They're watching me right now and they're just very enthralled on this.
Yeah. They're very happy with you being in there. But how important is it that we ensure veterans and their families get the health care and the resources that they require, even if they are underserved, minority, or in these rural environments where they may not have VA facilities and stuff like that?
Well, if you think about those numbers, and we're going to do some math here, 2.7, right, that we know are in underserved or remote locations in the country. So that's 5.4 million if you think about the correlation of 8 million right now in the Veterans Administration, or 8 to 9 million, and 18 million. So about half. So there's a much larger population, I think, that's in the rural areas of the country. And they're just as important as somebody who lives in Chicago or Tampa or Charlotte. We have to make sure that they get the health care they need. I've said for a long time, and I think a lot of people are talking about it, that veteran issues in a lot of ways become recruitment issues. Because if you're going to recruit people and they see that a veteran coming back is not getting the health care that they need, or not transitioning well into society and thriving, then maybe a little more reticent about joining the service. And we want them to be thoughtful about making that commitment. But we certainly don't want to turn people away. We got to make sure that they're taken care of. So that promissory note needs to be paid. And we need to make sure that veterans get the health care they need. I think what we're doing is something other organizations need to do as well. And that is bringing attention to this. Because as we know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? And sometimes in a rural area, you may not get that noise enough to get the service that you need. And we want to make sure that happens. That's why the Access Act is important. That's why telemedicine is important. That's why making sure that the Veterans Administration reorganizes in a way that's going to skate to where the puck is going to be and understand that people are moving to rural areas of our country. It's not like the rural areas are getting smaller and smaller. People are moving to rural areas because they want to live that style of life. And so we have to make sure healthcare gets to them. But technology can help with that. And I think the VA is looking to try to do that. And I think as a VSO, we need to help them think about that. And the way we help them think about that is through these surveys, through white papers, through talking to veterans to find out exactly what they need and help make that happen. Hey, listen, it's easy to point the finger at the VA and say, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And we've all had people like that in our lives and organizations, right? They're not helpful. They're noise and it's toxic. What we need to do is say, hey, listen, I've noticed you're struggling here. How can I be helpful? How can I help you carry this load? And that's what we need to do. And I think that's what we're trying to do with discussions like this, but also with discussions with like Walt at Wounded Warrior Project or others that we bring on our podcasts and other things that we write about. I think that's important to bring awareness to it, bring solutions to it, and make sure decision makers in Washington are aware of that. And that includes the congressmen and senators from the rural areas. They know that's happening, but if we can back them up with information through our polling and through our analytics and through some other things, that just makes it a little bit easier for them to make the case that partnering with the VA and getting healthcare, mobile units, things like that to those locations happens. And you know what? We all need to have a sense of urgency about this. And there is, I'll say this and I'll now stop because I'm starting to get going here. There is no they, it's us. Someone else is not going to fix this. It's us that needs to fix it.
Yeah, no, that's, I think everybody I talk to, because I still have this feeling that, most veterans, and I could be wrong. And for those listening, if I'm wrong, please post in comments. This is a great part about having an opinion. But with veterans and even families, we often don't engage in a political charged anything, right? Until it impacts us, like in a way that, or somebody that we know, and then maybe we will come forward and do it. The thing right now, though, is like, it needs to be us, like all of us. Like if you served, like you've got to, like, if you want your voice, you've got to step forward. And I still say this today, and I know you believe the same thing, Jim. Like, look, and if it isn't Mission Roll Call, I think the intent for us is like, find a tribe, man. Go get somebody, go be around your people, right? The ones that we serve with, and give your feedback to make sure it gets to the right folks. Because if you don't, as things go on, people will make decisions based off of myths or things that they hear versus the reality. And I think we see a lot of that.
And I'll be candid. There's veteran support organizations that do a great job telling Congress what they want, what that organization wants, not what veterans may want. And that's what separates us. It's not what Mission Roll Call. We have no political opinion on things. We use the polling to take that information and shape and give that to congressmen and senators so they can shape legislation. And then I use that to go talk to the media. And I share that polling information with them. Yeah, I think that's important for us to do that, and for organizations to work together to make sure that happens. I think there's people passing behind me and all that, but I hope that's
well, you're in a, we'll hold it against you later. But nobody should confuse too that we don't have our own thoughts on things, right? Like, because we do. But our responsibility as part of this organization is to be focused on what the guy. Again, I'm just amazed. I still remember that first poll that we put out. You and I had a conversation with some of the team. We come and looked at the results, and we're like,
like, wow.
Okay. But then when you get some of the replies that people put in, you're like, oh, I didn't think about this person, or I didn't think. So it quantified the fact that what you and I have said, where it's like, hey, put your personal feelings to the side, and you've got to focus in on what you're being told. And then, like, every time that we've done these, what you're getting back is so important. But we need that to grow. I think you say this a lot, where a couple thousand's great. But listen, you want real change? We need 100,000. We need 500,000 poll responses, and we go walk in somewhere and just provide that to them. Right? Again, it's not about sure, it looks great on Mission Roll Call because we're lucky enough to be the ones that get the opportunity to do this, right? Like that's the great part. But the reality is that shows the veteran community going, hey, all right, man, hold on. This is what we want. This is what we need based off of.
And I would say the least anybody can do is take a poll. I mean, it only takes a minute or two to take a poll. So that's the one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is, to your point, get involved with another not-for-profit, get involved with a Team Rubicon or Red, White, and Blue, go out and run and physical fitness and do things. Mission continues. And then the other down the spectrum, then you have organizations like Vet the Vote, right, where we're getting veterans to be involved in the political system and run for campaigns and get involved at the local level or state level, even the federal level. At the end of the day, what drove us to go into the service was we wanted to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and we wanted to serve our country. And I think that ember never goes out in any veteran. It's just a matter of us growing it when they get out of service and continuing that. I know so many veterans that got out of the service, they work in business and they coach a little league team. They're part of the town hall, or they're a police officer, or they run for elected office. That's what continues. That continues our service to country. And I think that's an important aspect that drives all of us. We want to continue to make an impact in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for some of our research projects to come out. And sorry for those that are listening. You can see that, we get fired up on these subjects because it's like we're here for you. So we want to be here for you. Okay. Jim, we're going to start questions for everybody that's listening, no matter what platform you are. Post a question. You have a question, you got something, like, look, we love stumping Jim. Okay. I get the easy part. I get to read your question and send it to him to answer. I'm happy to answer too, by the way. But we want your questions. And more importantly, we want to connect with you. Okay. We want to hear your stories. We have a fabulous team that does amazing work. Okay. We've got all kinds. We got folks that are focused on writing. We got folks doing podcasts, and folks are doing YouTube videos, and all of them would love to connect with you and obviously tell your story. So if you want to tell a story, you guys can post also. But while they're thinking about other questions that they have, Jim, we actually have a question here from Miguel. It looks like his question is, what transition programs or policies do you support that help veterans adjust to the psychological and identify shifts that come with leaving military service? I think that's an interesting, if you don't mind, Jim, just for a second, just one quick thing.
Please go ahead.
Miguel, one thing about the organization, so every August, September timeframe, we put out a poll, right? So we ask veterans, we ask their families, hey, tell us what we should focus on this year. We are an organization that believes we could do 1,000 things and maybe do possibly one of those okay, or we can, shrink those down a little bit to where we focus on main topics. Transition programs was not one of our main priorities this year. Jim's still going to answer it because we still monitor it and watch it. Maybe it'll be something that pops up next year, but I would be interested, to talk to you, because to understand if there's anything that you're watching, but then two, more importantly, is when we get to the August, September timeframe, if you think this is something that we should be monitoring and watching, vote in that poll so that we know, so that we can bring that back on the table. So sorry, Jim, I just wanted to caveat that because I know that for us, it's very finite on what we focus on based off veterans, so that we don't get our hands in too many pots and then we can't help push anything forward. Yeah.
Well, I think it's evident by the fact that we have nearly 40,000 VSOs across the country that transitions aren't going too well. There's a lot of organizations trying to help veterans plug into the community, find a job, deal with issues, get a service dog, you name it. There's a lot of need out there. I think, and we all know, I think the military does a wonderful job by taking people from all walks of life, shaping them, inculcating them into an organization. And now it's not about you anymore. You're a part of 3rd Platoon, whatever organization, or second wing of whatever organization. You're part of something else. What we don't do good in the service is when it's time to leave. It's usually a out processing checklist. You go to a transition service, you learn about a couple things, and then you're out the door. And then you're trying to figure that out. What we're trying to do on our website as a hub is to have veterans come to that, find resources there, Go to our listen to YouTube on our YouTube presentations on financial planning, on how to navigate the VA. We're going to have some on entrepreneurial, starting a business, all these sort of things that are going to make a difference, I think, in helping veterans make this transition. There's a lot of struggling with veteran transition right now, and I think there's a lot of organizations trying to help with that, but it's still a significant issue. I think the other thing here is that I think both the DoD and the VA is going to have to kind of stand back a little bit and find out how to work together to make sure that this goes pretty well, goes a lot better actually, because you have veterans getting out of the service with all kinds of skill sets that aren't recognized in the civilian world, and they have to get relicensed. We need to fix that. It would be lovely to see more businesses understand, especially Fortune 500 businesses, do a better job on understanding what veterans bring to the table and helping those HR departments read a resume that's from a veteran that's getting out of the service, understand the skill sets they're bringing. There's a disparity there. There's a gap that needs to be fixed. There's a lot of organizations that are trying to hire heroes. Is doing a lot of great work there. There's a number of other organizations that do great jobs there, but we have some work to do as a nation to make sure that we capitalize on what veterans bring to the table. I did an NPR interview yesterday, and I said on that interview, she asked me, is there anything else you want to tell the Tampa community? Yes, I would say to the Tampa community, if you're looking for an employee right now, we have veterans that can fill those jobs. Veterans that bring loyalty, skill sets. They probably manage millions of dollars in equipment and hundreds of people or 10 people or 15 people. But there's one thing they all bring: passion and pride in what they are and who they are. And they're going to bring that to your organization. So we just need to come together as a country and figure that out a little bit better. Maybe it's a consortium of folks from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce or the Business Roundtable and a special group from the White House that says, hey, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to take advantage of the skills that veterans have and make this a national priority? That would be great. I'd love to see that. And if they need somebody to run it, I'll give it to Ray.
yeah. Jim knows. So I got the opportunity, Miguel, to be inside of the USO of North Carolina and the Pathfinder program, and it's still to this day one of the best things that I did after leaving service because, again, I retired after 20 plus years. I was an E9, felt, it was probably one of the best units on the planet. And there was no way I was going to get out and not get a position or a career. And boy, was I not prepared for that. So, and this is why I'm in nonprofits today, right? Because I did finally get into the corporate sector, but I learned very quickly that there is a disconnect. And that disconnect starts well before somebody transitions. So, and to be fair, most people that are transitioning, like look, and I'm just going to speak for myself, okay, because I don't want to put people in this box, but I can tell you for Ray, there came a point where I'm like, oh man, am I not going to have to wake up in the morning? Am I not going to have to shave? Am I not going to have to, wow. And there was a small time period there where I kind of became lazy, right? I don't like saying this out loud. Like somebody's going to clip this later, but I did because it was the first time I could slow down and really I could spend time with my family. I could do honey-do list and all these other things. And all of a sudden, I now have got to find a career that I have no idea. So I think your question really means a lot because
it's a good question.
It is an important part. And I think Jim hit on really what we're trying to do right now. We're gauging this VA DOD relationship because I still, again, personal opinion, DOD puts a lot of money in us when we're a military service member. I have a feeling they want you to be a federal employee first before a civilian employee. And I understand that. Makes sense. Bad part is there's a lot of opportunity there that's missing on the other side.
But you're spot on. And I think everybody takes a little bit of a breather when they get out of the military. I would say two things. One, if Miguel or anyone on this knows of an organization that we should be reaching out to find out what they're doing and help promote them that's addressing this issue, I'd love to do that. So I think that's important. So, and share your ideas on organizations that are doing that. There's a lot of work to be done here.
That's right.
Everybody does transition their own ways, but I'll say this. I've had a number of folks I've known in the Army, senior people, and they'll call me and say, "Hey, Jim, I know you worked in Fortune 500 companies and you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I need to network. Can you help me network?" I said, "Happy to help you there. When are you getting out of the Army? When are you retiring?" And inevitably they say next month. Well,
that's right.
You're about 12 months late. You got to start thinking way ahead of time on networking and meeting organizations and really finding out for yourself, what is your mission statement? What is it that you want to do? And then figure that out.
But it's hard. You know what I mean?
It's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Remember the email? I shot you an email yesterday. Man, we're going over as normal, but I shot you an email yesterday because a gentleman replied about the suicide survey. And and it's a very powerful thing that he said inside of there is that, you know, the very first way that you have to look at suicide is that there's an educational gap, right? If you never talk to me about it, it's kind of like swimming. You're taught how to swim so that you recognize currents and other things to stay away from them. Stay away from those things, because if you don't, you're going to get sucked out into the ocean and then nobody's going to see you. Yeah, I thought that was such a powerful thing. Same thing here. Really was. Really right. Was. I think it does lead in here. Thanks, Mike, for his. Also, Mike posted that the recent DoD VA MOU is in a good step, or is in the right direction also. So thanks, Mike. And Mike's our advocacy lead for the organization. For anybody to know, like he's boots on the ground. So you know, he's doing a lot of fabulous work, and then also bringing Jim in is important stuff. So these two, they're the main ones that are focused on him. All right, so next, this one will be easy. I'll answer this one real quick. Jim, this one's, hey, you guys have a podcast. Where do I find it? Thank you, Roger, for answering. thelastingmission.org or .com. Either one of those will take you to our website. You'll see all the podcasts on there. The main focus of the podcast is telling stories, telling your stories, telling nonprofit stories. We try to elevate nonprofits. So if you're part of a nonprofit out there, you provide services to veterans. We have a veteran resource directory. We want to hear from you. We want you to go on there. Like this is not just about us. It's about you, right? At the end of the day, it's if you're a veteran or a veteran resource, we want to make sure that we're providing that information to others. So don't be shy to reach out to us. You can go to our website, you can contact us, send us an email, whatever you want. Pigeon. I think they did pigeons back in the day. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they do it. Yeah, I'm not really sure how they do it. Okay, Brittany says, hi from Arizona. What does it cost to join your programs? And I'll kick that over to you, Jim. It costs nothing to join our programs. We want to help people. We want to elevate other VSOs. So please take advantage of it fully. Listen to our podcasts for free, our YouTube videos for free. Download our information on our website. Visit our website. We want you to flourish and thrive, and we want to help other organizations. This costs time. Yeah, absolutely. And I always say this: what the cost is to you is time, first and foremost. Take a poll, watch a video. I mean, watching YouTube videos and the other stuff that we do, there's not like a monetary get, but what it does is it make sure that the content that we're creating is content that you want to use. And then as always, we're a nonprofit. You can always consider, but we want you to donate because you understand that what we're doing is impacting you appropriately or those that you know. And we know that'll come through time as we continue. I mean, you're doing great work over the last, 2018 Mission Roll Call was kind of infancy inside of a program. And now it's full-fledged 501c3. And we are sprinting. And the folks that we have in the organization wake up every day hungry to like do something and finish something. I think that's the best part of this entire thing. So thanks for that question, Brittany. We appreciate it. And we're thankful for you being here. Britt asked, will you be out on the ice for Hockey Heels 22, Jim? Absolutely. Okay. Chances are I'm going to be the goalie playing against the pros. I am not a hockey player, but I am going to be there at the event. I get to drop the puck. But we have Jim Carr, who's down here, who set this all up. He actually plays on one of the teams and plays hockey. So I'm thinking I'm going to change my jersey with his jersey, so it's going to look like I'm out there on the ice. Oh yeah. 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 So, I mean, that's just the way I am. I'm just going to try to avoid any kind of pain and suffering because those guys look really big. I mean, there's the Tampa Lightning. They got some big dudes that can, skate fast and hit hard. And I think Jim is up to that, Jim Carr, and I'm behind him 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I'm all about being a mascot. I've said this for years. I'm good being behind the scenes, I don't know if it's a lightning bolt. I don't know what they have, but I'll be that person, just kind of, going side to side. Well, all right. I don't think we have any other questions, Jim. As always, I appreciate, your time, and I know everybody that's here appreciates your time. We're thankful for everybody that stopped in today. Remember, we're going to be back July 23rd, same bat time, same bat channel, basically wherever you're watching this at. So we'll usually put up the events so you guys can watch and do everything else with those. So you guys can come in. We got a lot of surveys. This suicide survey that we have right now, the suicide prevention, and some of the questions we're asking, very important. I would implore you, please go take the survey. It's 2 minutes of your time max. And then not only do I ask you to take it, please share it with others. Okay. All we're doing is representing you by giving your voice to somebody else. Okay. We're not trying to put words in your mouth, but we need those voices. So continue to do those things. Jim, I'll throw it over to you one more time. Anything that you want to leave on for the group here or for those listening?
Yeah, just to build on what you said on the survey that's out there right now, suicide and all of our surveys, share it with your groups, share it with your families, share it with those of you that are interested in this and know it's important. The more the participation we get with that, the bigger influence we have. It's a much different meeting when I walk into a senator or congressman's office when we're representing X amount of people, 100,000 versus 10 million. That's a different type of meeting. And when these polls reach tens of thousands of people, it makes it and provides information that is so important to the VA or to a congressman or senator. The effects of that are amazing. So share it. It only takes a few minutes, and share it with friends, and share our website with folks as well, and reach out to your fellow veterans. Suicide's a tricky thing, and if it was easy to solve, it would have been solved by now. A lot of money has gone into it, a lot of studies, but we can't forget, at the end of the day, it's about people talking to people. And on any given day, all of us are carrying a rucksack with all kinds of things in it. Emotions, a sick mom, a child who's not doing well in school, financial issue, all of those things weigh us down. And having empathy for each other and kindness to each other, and reaching out to fellow veterans, say, how you doing? What's going on in your life? They're important things for all of us to do, and never think that any one of us are impervious to that type of situation. The old adage, there by the grace of God go I. It's true. And we need to make sure we reach out to each other and take care of each other.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. Thank you so much for that. All right, everybody. First, thank you for your service. Be a voice to impact others. Guess what? It's free. Let us amplify your voice. Thank you for your service. And of course, families, thank you for letting us borrow your loved one to serve our country. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you all next month.
Thank you.